Hi, welcome to Live United. My name is Karen Knapp, President, CEO, United Way of St. Lucie County. United Way is working with its community, funded, and business partners to identify gaps in services here in St. Lucie County. We also wanted to identify key issues that are not being currently addressed in the areas of education, income, and health. And today we are talking to one of our funded partners from Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services, Rick and Evelyn. Welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate you having us.
Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services, you know, you think about the older generation when you think about deaf and hard of hearing, but in our conversation earlier, we were discussing how that's affecting the very young and the very early adulthood, and people in their 40s and even 50s that you wouldn't consider them as old, but hard of hearing, that can happen to so many of us, and there's so many reasons why. Let's talk about deaf and hard of hearing and how you address those issues.
The reason, first of all, why we're experiencing people in their 50s now, and it's our age group that love their rock and roll, and it's starting to hit us a lot earlier than it would have hit people in their 70s and 80s. What we try to do is bridge the communications gap, and that is done in many different ways. We refer physicians and hospitals to sign language interpreting services. Evelyn will work with our deaf clients because she signs very well and do a document translation for them. For our hard of hearing clients, we have hearing aid banks for adults and children who are financially disadvantaged. And we also distribute the Phones on Loan program for the state, in which anybody who is a state resident that is deaf, hard of hearing, deaf, blind, or speech impaired can get a special telephone through the state at no cost to them. Has
the population of the deaf and hard of hearing grown here on the Treasure Coast?
Since I started over the last 20 years, it's gone up 10 to 15,000 people in the four-county area. And it's just getting bigger and bigger, and a lot of that is we're living longer. And the older we get, our ears are one of the things that wear out, just like your eyes.
There are certain signs when your hearing's going, and many times people ignore those signs.
That's a normal reaction. They say that the studies have shown that it takes 7 years from someone to discovering that they have hearing loss to actually dealing with it and getting a hearing aid or a telephone or something like that, because we tend to ignore it. For men, it's a virility thing. For women, it's a vanity thing. But it's normal for it to take that long before you deal with it. And of course, there's a large expense involved too. So you want to put that off and put that off as much as possible.
Yeah, there is a large expense involved. Is there any type of a resource out there if someone isn't able to afford some type of a hearing apparatus that they can actually
There's nothing nationally, there's nothing statewide. We do it locally, and most of the deaf service centers around the state have the same program. What we do is we work with a local audiologist, and we collect hearing aids and have them refurbished. And then for an out-of-pocket cost to a client of maybe $500, we can put them in a hearing aid. It's a refurbished hearing aid. It's not brand new, but still, versus $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a hearing aid, $500 is very affordable. None of that cost goes to us. That offsets some of the audiology costs that the company we work with provides.
So what's the difference between hard of hearing and deaf?
Degree of not hearing. There's different groups. There's what we call the Big D deaf, which is a cultural deaf, which they're signers, They, for the most part, were born deaf. They're profoundly deaf, don't verbalize much at all. Then you have the lip reading deaf on this side and everything in between. And that's just the deaf portion of it. And then the hard of hearing people, that can be anybody from, you know, something like a 30% loss on up to a 70, 80, 90% loss. Most of those people are very verbal. Some of them are speech readers. Not everybody is that's hard of hearing out there, but that is the large part of our population. They estimate about 16% of the population is hard of hearing and about 1% is profoundly deaf. And they're just two separate groups that both require different services.
Hearing is such an important sense, and many times people take it for granted or just ignore it when they're losing that sense. Can you talk about the effects of an individual not getting the hearing aid when they should?
Well, it affects the elderly adults, and how it affects them is they become cut off from the world, and it causes a lot of depression and mental health issues. Children, on the other hand, it causes them to fall behind in school, behind their peers, their age group peers. They say that every 6 months, when a child is born with hearing loss, if every 6 months that child goes without amplification, they lose a year and a half in school behind their peers. So if a child goes for 12 months without amplification, they're 3 years behind the 8 ball already to start with.
And I know we're doing, or United Way is funding a program in the schools, and it has to do with the kids and the use of the MP3 players and such. Now with streaming and all, we have to talk about that. But tell us what you do to be more proactive in the schools, informing children about, the importance of not listening to their music too loud with the hearing buds in.
Well, we do have the Dangerous Decibels program, and that's what you fund. And we go to the elementary schools and some of the middle schools, mainly because they're more open and wanting to learn, and they do listen. They'll go home and tell their parents and their siblings that, if you don't turn that volume down, you're going to be deaf, or they'll explain how they learned in school. But I'll go in all day and go from each class and teach them about taking out their earbuds. It's not just only how loud it is, but it's how long you're listening to those devices.
So they fall asleep with their, the earbuds in their ears. That's not good.
No, it's not good at all.
So how are kids how are the young kids reacting to your message?
They're really learning, and they'll talk to the teachers, weeks later, telling them or asking them about, remember Todd? We have a mannequin, and his name is Todd. It's Turn Off Dangerous Decibels. And the kids remember his name and what it stands for. And that's a good thing. We just have to try to get them not to listen. It's not only music. It's their video games. It's in the car. It's going to those outdoor concerts when they're real close to the music. It's just teaching them to turn down the volume if they can. If they can't, wear some kind of a device for their ears to protect them. And they're learning that if it's too loud, walk away. And they're really doing that. So,
how many schools do you work with?
as many as we can. It changes. Last year we saw about 7,000 children in the different schools, and it was geared before for the fourth graders. Now we're starting with the kindergarten and going right straight up through the grades. So
it's voluntary, so it's a little difficult to get all the schools involved. I mean, we have no way of saying you must do this. It's just a matter of selling them and convincing them. Once we've been in the school, many times they'll invite us back. They like us to come every year once they see what the program is all about. one of the things she talked about was Todd, and the kids love this mannequin, and its purpose is Macy's actually gave it to us, and we had silicone ears put in it and a microphone in it hooked up to a sound meter, so the kids can actually put their earbuds and their MP3 players on him and turn it on and actually see how loud that they're listening to the music. And then she has a thermometer which matches it up against like a lawnmower or a motorcycle or jet engine, and it also tells them how long they can listen to that at that level without causing any damage. So
Right.
it's kind of a hands-on learning experience.
Yeah, it's good that they go home and talk to their parents, but it'd be good if the parents had some type of instruction as well.
We have done a couple of those, the
Okay.
Parent-Teacher Association meetings, and we've done a couple of those too. And that's very helpful. And then, and some of the parents would say, oh, so that's what they're talking about. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah. So we do that.
You mentioned phones. You have availability
If you look
at your
on
office for the people to
Yes.
come and pick them up?
If you look on your phone bill, there's a little 11-cent a month surcharge called the Telecommunications Systems Act surcharge. Half the money raised by that goes to pay for this program, and it's been on everybody's bills since 1996. What we do is, or the state does, is actually buys telephones that are volume controlled and tone controlled. And for someone who's hard of hearing, you need to make both of those adjustments. The phones are relatively expensive. The normal phone we give out would cost about $170 to buy. The caption phones that we give out are $500 plus. So it's a major expense for someone. So that's why the state does it, and it doesn't cost them a thing. The phone is on loan to them to use as long as they need it. If it ever breaks, they bring it back, we give them another one. If it stops being loud enough, they bring it back and we find something that is more appropriate for their needs. So it's an ongoing program, and for us it's a way to generate some income and help pay the light bill.
Right. That's always important.
Yeah.
Well, our time is run out, and I want to thank you both for being here. I know there is so much more we could tell the public, but your number was on the screen, so if anyone wants to find out more about your services, they can either call the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services of the Treasure Coast,
Right.
and or United Way.
Yeah.
We'll be back in just a minute.
Take my hand and start a brand new day. And together as one we'll start to see some change.
Underneath everything we are, underneath everything we do, we are all people, connected, interdependent, united. And when we reach out a hand to one, we can influence the condition of all. That's what it means to live united.
Welcome back to Live United. My guests are now from Graceway Village, another funded partner of United Way of St. Lucie County. Welcome.
Good morning.
Kathy and Chris.
Good morning.
Welcome. Graceway Village. You've been on the show before, and we've talked a little bit about Graceway, and it's really known throughout certain areas or certain groups in our community, but we want to get the word out to the entire community.
Thank
so
you.
let's talk about your mission and your vision, your purpose of Graceway Village.
Thank you very much. It's certainly a goal for all of St. Lucie County to know that we exist and the areas that we are available to help the families in need, the children in need in particularly. In any way that we can help them through clothing or food or education in order to improve their lifestyle and help them become more self-sufficient, that's definitely a goal of ours.
Okay, you talked about clothing, food, so that all has to do with the programs that you run. Let's talk about
Absolutely.
Matthew's Cafe.
It's a program that's near and dear to my heart. Matthew's Cafe is the only food kitchen open on a weekend in St. Lucie County. We chose Sunday nights so that children can go to school on Monday morning with some food in their stomach. Last year, we served over 5,500 people a hot meal on Sunday nights with a delicious fresh salad. Our director is known for her salads, and they really are very good. We enlarged it a little over a year ago with including a free lunch on Wednesdays when another one of our programs, Hope's Closet, is open. So we're able to feed those families as well as the regulars that come for lunch on Wednesdays. And we just started 3 weeks ago. I'm so excited about this, a homebound delivery portion of Matthew's Cafe. There are individuals living in our public housing in Fort Pierce for seniors and disabled who are not able to get to Matthew's Cafe for a hot meal, either because of their age, lack of transportation, or disability. And so now we have teams every Sunday that are taking food to the 3 different public housing communities and delivering to these individuals so they can at least get 1 hot meal a week.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, my goodness,
Sounds like
yes.
your hours sort of coincide with your programs, but they also, I know that you work with the other community partners, and there are days, most days, there is food offered somewhere in St. Lucie County, but you worked with your partners to make sure that all the days were covered. I know that that's how you scheduled originally.
Absolutely.
And then it's really important to really coordinate it around your the programs you run, so that people who are in need receive the services and they
That's
don't have to
right.
come back for them. So that's wonderful. It is very rewarding when when you're talking about feeding children and making sure they have enough food for Monday morning schools. It is a great benefit to our community. And you also talked about clothing children. Let's talk about Hope's Closet.
Hope's Closet for Children was the original program that kicked off Graceway. The intent of Hope's Closet is to provide a respectful boutique experience for individuals in great need of clothing for their children. When I started in my position a couple years ago, I was unaware of the truancy rate of children with school because they did not have appropriate clothing to go to school. This need is certainly met through Hope's Closet. All the social service agencies that work with children, their members, they provide vouchers and they come in and shop for their cases as well. We clothed over 4,000 children last year, all the way through the age of 17.
And you're in need of clothing, and especially certain types of clothing. And you're looking for more boys' clothes or boys'
Well, we need
shoes.
more boys' clothes because boys are so hard on their clothing
Yes.
that we just do not get as many donated. So we are definitely in need of boys' clothing and shoes.
And boys outgrow their clothing. So
Faster.
if I know my grandsons, they're growing, like weeds, and so we make sure that we pull together a bag of shoes and clothes and make sure that you all get those clothes so that you can then hand them out into the community, which is just a wonderful service. You had a summer program as well?
We had anticipated having a summer
Okay.
program, but we did not. It ended up would have been a duplication of services on the same street. It was through the food bank. I believe, is that the one you're referring about?
Yes.
Yeah, we found out that there was another entity just down the road that was doing it as well, and there really wasn't a need for both of us, and so we did not continue with the food bank on that one.
And how can the community get involved with Matthew's Cafe or
Hope's Closet.
Yes.
They can contact us. They can go to our email, our website, which is gracewayvillage.com. It explains the different opportunities through each of the programs. Like Hope's Closet for Children, we need individuals to work with our clients every Wednesday, anytime throughout the day on Wednesdays.
Right.
Matthew's Cafe, we need volunteer help to both cook the food, serve the food, as well as clean up, and now also to deliver food on Sunday evenings as well.
Right. And you also run a Getting Ahead class and
Oh.
Just Getting By World.
You're familiar with that, absolutely.
I'm familiar with that. That is a program that United Way has supported for many years. Would you like to talk about that?
Absolutely. Hope's Closet and Matthew's Cafe take care of immediate needs, whereas the Getting Ahead program is more of a long-term goal. It provides 16 sessions of the course. It's for adults who are in poverty, striving to get out of poverty, but they just keep hitting that brick wall. And so what Getting Ahead does is it brings them back to the absolute basics. They start doing research and the communities they live in, their household, the choices they make, their problem-solving abilities, just things that may have been carried on for generation after generation. And they discover through their research that it's really, some of them are predators and very much a negative. And so working together as a group, they come face to face and they start making some healthy changes. And then from that point on, they start researching what do they want to do and their goals and what's the timeline that's needed from it. Now, Chris has been on our board a little bit less than a year, I believe. Yeah, and he's bringing to the board a lot of experience and administratively, as well as he has brought a program with him as well that we've now incorporated into Graceway Village.
Okay, can you tell us about your program?
Be happy to. I'm just really fortunate to have been able to join the board and be able to bring some expertise. I have a lot of experience in the community on other nonprofit boards, so happy to bring that level of experience and some good solid business management experience from my day job as well. But the program Kathy's referring to is called Counterculture, and Counterculture is about 2.5 years old now, and it's a program that was designed to meet the needs of young adults in our community and to provide a safe environment. And it happens once a month. Part of our vision is to bring more opportunity and more often, more frequency. But right now it's once a month on the last Friday of every month. And it's a time of gathering, of fellowship, and of community for the young adults. We generally have about 60 to 70 on a regular basis that come out, and they enjoy time of fellowship with one another, and it's a good, safe Christian environment. So whereas a lot of the young adults are heading out to the bars or to house parties and things like that, this is an alternative to that, and it's really it's along the same lines as every other program where we're helping to provide an element of care for the community. It's breeding volunteers. It allows an additional outlet for those young adults to get involved in the community, but it's also helping with preparing them for the future. So when we look at programs like Getting Ahead, we're trying to provide some tools for those who didn't have it when they were younger. And so if we can provide some financial literacy at that young adult age, hopefully we can keep them out of the other programs. So we're really looking at a really well-rounded set of programs that help serve the community and the needs of the community.
Are you looking for a certain type of individual to be involved? I mean, is this can anyone participate in this program? And if so, how many do you have in there now? And is there a waiting list?
For
Do you need
Counterculture?
more? Yes.
Counterculture is open to as many as we can pack into the facility there. There's plenty of room, so anyone who would want to come and participate. We have a lot of participation from Indian River State College and other young adults from the community, and it's open to any of the churches in the area. We have several churches that are participating, sending their young adults. The colleges, any parents who have young adults that are 18 to 26 years old that are looking to get engaged in the community. It's just a great outlet, and we're seeing a lot of friendships and fellowship and a lot of strong bonds made.
Tell us about when the evening begins. What can someone expect when they first enter the program?
Well, it's actually shaping up really nicely because of the facility that Graceway offers. It starts out with a time of music. There's music playing, and there's time where they're just kind of hanging out. There's Counterculture Cafe, which is sort of a little coffee bar. We have some outdoor activities, and then just time of social fellowship within the fellowship hall there at Graceway. And it really is just, it's time to hang out and be with friends, and what we're trying to do is respond to all of the different demographics that Counterculture attracts. So we have some people that are more outdoorsy. We'll have a bonfire going and things of that nature. The young adults seem to really love the coffee bar idea. They get their Starbucks or their Dunkin' Donuts fill, and so we've got a little cafe open. So it's really a comfortable environment and spiritually enriching as well. So we'll definitely have a word of encouraging word for them to listen to, and then we'll have a time of some worship and praise music, and then afterwards they can hang out again. So it's 3 or 4 hours of just good social interaction time, and we found it to be, after 2.5 years, we've got a good following. So they're really enjoying the time.
And you encourage volunteerism?
Absolutely. We've got a large number of the young adults that are actually active in helping to help Counterculture function, but then some of those are actually spilling over into other areas of Graceway Village. And so that's what's really exciting to us. So they're helping with Hope's Closet, with Matthew's Cafe, and being able to serve our community, and then the in-home outreach program as well.
Sounds like you're doing a terrific job, and I can't wait to hear more about it later. But you have an event coming up that you might want to tell the
Listen,
viewing
we have
audience
two events
about?
come up in
Two
February.
events, okay.
The timing of it is really great. That's Sunday on February 12th is the Butterfly Kisses, the father-daughter dance that has, I believe it's the 4th year. It's
So
just really,
sweet,
it's
yeah.
a beautiful, beautiful event. There's never a complaint. Tremendous. The girls just can hardly wait to come back every year.
Do they get all dressed up?
They do. As they get older, we see them a little bit more relaxed and casual. Some of them are coming because Daddy still wants them to go. But I love to see the dads coming in. I mean, it's just so much fun just to watch the dads, and they're so proud, and it's just their time to be the knight in shining armor. And that's so it's Sunday, February 12th. And of course, we have Valentine's Day on Tuesday, the 14th this year. So a wise man can kill two birds with one stone. They can do butterfly kisses on the 12th, and they can come take their wife to the Bebop and Sock Hop on Friday the 17th.
There you go.
Which is going to be at the Riverwalk Center. We're so excited about it. It's going to be so much fun.
And how can someone buy tickets to either of the events?
Okay, they can go onto our website, gracewayvillage.com, and go to the individual page, find out more about it, and click on and purchase tickets.
Well, that's sounds like a lot of fun.
I've got my costume. I'm not a costume person.
Oh, you do? Okay,
I do.
that's
I'm
good.
all set.
That's all set, right?
Yeah.
But you have many needs, so is there something you'd like to share with our viewing audience about the needs of Graceway Village?
We have a variety. When you look at Hope's Closet for Children, and we give out anywhere from 600 to 1,000 items of clothing every Wednesday, the need for quality, well-conditioned clothing and shoes is certainly very high. So they can do clothing drives with clubs and businesses or church groups, or they can just drop off their grandchildren's clothes, and we're very happy to take them. Matthew's Cafe, non-perishable food that is not expired. We like to send home every guest on Sunday nights with a bag of food to last them a day or two. So we're always looking for those donations as well. They can do a canned food drive and be very beneficial for us as well. We also collect children's books. Every child who comes to Hope's Closet gets to take home a book.
That's a good point.
So we're always looking forward to that. And then we have not a lending library, book bank in our pantry, where they can, while they're standing in line, they browse through it and they can each take a book as well. We have discovered that's very, very popular. Volunteering, we're always in need of volunteers. We've already mentioned that. And so it's always, they can come once a month, they can work twice a month. We love them every week as well. Their area of interest. I think truly our greatest need, because everything that we do is for free, our greatest need is really financial support from our community. We are just really gearing up to reach out to the community more than we ever have before with the Community Care Partnership. And they can be involved as taking care of their neighbors right alongside of us.
Well, it sounds like you guys really have it together, and you know what the needs of the community are, and you're serving as best you can. I just hope everyone listens, and if you have time to volunteer or you have resources to donate, please do so. And if you need more information, just call the United Way office at 464-5300. Thank you for joining us.